Hi, everyone. Welcome to the December 1st, 2021 Open Space Committee meeting. I'm Adam Young, and I'm going to go through the agenda. I'll begin by reading the brief word of introduction. In accordance with the provisions allowed by Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, the December 1st, 2021 public meeting of the Lakeville Open Space Committee will be held remotely. To view this meeting in progress, go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. The meeting will be recorded and available to be viewed at a later date at lakecam.tv. I will begin today by introducing members in attendance. I'll see your face on the screen here. I'll say your name and you indicate that you're present. Gary Flaherty.
Present.
Mike Schroeder.
Present.
Liz Nash.
Present.
All right, and myself, Adam Young, present. We do not have Brian Reynolds in attendance today or Fred Ferdima. And we also do not have Donna Wabrick, who rounds out our team. And I'll be discussing kind of later on, or maybe we could just tackle that right now, that it seems that Donna will be resigning from the committee, which is unfortunate, but it does represent an opportunity to bring someone else into the group. So if anyone here knows of anyone that they would recommend to join us and to help us on some of the projects we're working on, I'd be happy to hear it, and I'm sure the group would benefit from any additions. Liz?
Joan Morton actually had approached me a couple of months ago and said that she was interested. I don't know if she still is. That was a couple of months ago. So she may have changed her mind, but I know she has a lot of experience and she's already helped us some. So,
Well, Joan has
Yeah.
joined us a couple times in the past. Not as a committee member, but I do believe she helped with the last open space plan. Is that right, Mike? Okay. And she's also helping, I believe, the current one, working with Brian on the historical section as well. So if Joan or anyone else wants to help us with that, we benefit from their help.
Yeah.
There are no non-committee members in attendance. So what we'll do to begin today is to approve the prior meeting minutes. Oh, Mike, you have a question?
I just wanted to make sure that it's in the records that Brian Reynolds is not attending because he has a historical commission meeting tonight.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure Brian would be here if he could. So, will someone be available to kind of catch him up? I'm not sure to what extent you all have conversations with him, but we'll keep him in the loop somehow. I'll go to the meeting minutes now, and what I'll do is share my screen so that it's not just me talking, but you can follow along as well. I'll ask Craig with LakeCAM to allow screen sharing, if that's all right.
Yep, all set.
All right, you should be able to see my screen. And with that, I'll read it. And please take note as you read and as you hear me read of anything that you'd like to be edited. So I'll read through and then we'll revisit for any edits that are required. On October 6, 2021, the Open Space Committee held a meeting at 7:30 p.m. remotely from various locations. The meeting was called to order at 7:33 by Chairman Young. Open Space Committee members present were Adam Young, Fred Ferdima, Brian Reynolds, and Mike Schroeder. Absent was Liz Nash and Donna Wabrick. LakeCAM was recording the meeting for broadcast. Also present is Gary Flaherty. Now I'll pause here because I don't know the proper way of proceeding, and I'm hoping that those present can help. But do we need to have this set of notes voted on by a quorum that was also present at that date, or is that part not necessary?
I don't know for sure, but people usually do abstain if they're not here. Do we have a quorum of people who were here? Probably not.
Well, no, because I wasn't a member during that meeting.
That's right. Yeah.
And I wasn't here.
Right. So that makes it a little easier, I suppose, to actually put this aside and perhaps revisit next week when Fred and Brian are in attendance, because then with myself and Mike, that makes 4 and we can vote on it properly, I suppose.
Adam, would you mind if we just took a quick I just had a chance to quickly read it, even though we're not voting on it, just to remind us where we are.
There's no harm in that. So I'll continue reading in that case. I will skip the governor's order.
Yes, that's a good idea.
And I'll perhaps skim over some of the pleasantries. Gary introduced himself to the Open Space Committee and provided an overview of his experience. He expressed interest in joining the committee. Chairman Young noted it will be the Board of Selectmen that make the appointment, and he will work with them to coordinate a meeting vote. And Mike, if it would be possible to mute so that your dog doesn't distract you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I am sorry. I meant to do that.
That's okay. All right, meeting minutes. There's a review of the August meeting minutes. There were a few edits and spelling of names. Upon motion, they were voted in with a few edits. That was also done with the September 1st minutes, and I hope you'll forgive me skimming through since we can't vote on it anyway. Old business, open space plan updates, SERPID assistant update. Mike noted that she did speak with the town administrator regarding the request for SERPID assistance. The town admin has requested a list of items that the Open Space Committee is looking for SERPID to do. There is a suggestion of an interactive map that shows the Chapter 61 properties that you can zoom in to see the details of the property, which is something that SERPID could create for the Open Space Plan. Chairman Young asked member Fred Fredema and Mike Schroeder to suggest what items SERPID can assist us with. Mike will reach out to Bill Napolitano at SERPID to see what things they can best assist the committee with the update of the open space plan. The committee discussed putting together a priority list of items that the members feel that SERPID assistance is needed on. The chairman sets up a tentative meeting for a small group to work on this. Survey update results. Chairman Young is excited to announce the survey results are in. There's a PowerPoint presentation shown by myself that provides an overview of the results. I'll skim over some of the finer points here. There was a prize giveaway, and that person has been contacted. I gave a review of the survey results. Random number generator to determine who won the prize. Chairman Young accessed the spreadsheet of data and located, more details about the prize. I'll skim over that. So just to summarize, I presented the results and someone had won the prize. What I will say is that later on in this conversation today, we'll come back to the survey, so I don't want to dwell on that here. Liz, did you have something to say?
I'm just confused. What's the date on these minutes?
This is the October set. So
do you have November set also?
no, we don't.
So is this November with the wrong date on it?
No, these are the October minutes that
Okay.
were not read last month.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just confused because it sounded so familiar. Okay, never mind. Goodbye.
No problem. Party properties list. Chairman Young noted that a person reached out to the Open Space Committee asking whether the Montgomery and Barstow properties on the open space list. Chairman Young responded to the inquiry with a list of the properties the Open Space Committee is interested in, and that property is on it. I do want to edit that. Even though that property is of interest, it's not a priority property. So that's not what's written here, but that's our stance. So we will make that edit when we are capable of voting. New business, all other topics. We voted to recommend that Gary be appointed. This, I believe, had to be redacted, unfortunately, because it wasn't posted in advance that we would do so. So in November, we officially voted for him, not this October meeting. Committee liaisons. Brian noted that he did reach out to the Massachusetts Historical Commission. And he has a new contact, Jennifer Doherty. He left a message and is waiting to hear back from her. He explained that he's looking to get a copy of the map and listing of homes that are over 50 years old. It's hoped that this list can be reviewed with the priority property list in order to come up with recommendations on what historic houses and properties to recommend saving. Assawamsett Pond Complex, Nemasket River Study and Steering Committee. Mike noted the Nemasket Committee has been meeting on a regular basis. There was a public workshop held at the end of September, and another one is being held on November 10th through Zoom. The regular meeting is scheduled for November 3rd, and she will get a link and sign-up information how to access that public workshop. Future Community Preservation Committee. as we like to call it. Mike noted that the CPA group had a separate booth at the latest event, which I believe by memory was the Fall Arts Fair, which was located directly across from the open space booth. It was noted that they did get a lot of attention from residents and lots of questions were asked. There's reference to the article that will be voted on at the upcoming special town meeting in regard to the CPA. Fred had nothing new to report from the Conservation Commission, and that was essentially it. So what we'll do is we won't vote on this now for lack of people to do so, but we will next time. We won't read it again. So if you tune in next month, we're not going to have to do that twice. But does anyone have anything they'd like to talk about in relation to these minutes?
I'm good.
Mike, Liz?
Craig says there's a Facebook comment.
Someone asked, is this a draft or a final copy, and why would we edit it? I don't entirely follow. The purpose of reading these minutes is to keep the public informed of what has been done at prior meetings. We need to review the minutes to make sure that they're accurate representations of what was done and said and voted. And what we do is someone in the town, Colleen Lieb, transcribes the minutes, and then we vote on their accuracy and put them into, submit them to the town for public review, I suppose, public posting. We do need to edit them to make sure that they are accurate, and that's the only reason why we would edit these minutes. I'm assuming that's what that comment was about. Someone asked, could you please address and show the governor section, please, with the mandate? That would be this section here. I suppose I can read it for you since there was a request to do so. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, section 30A, subsection 20, I'm assuming that means relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency, the October 6th public meeting of the Open Space Committee shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation, with some text on how to access it live, which it looks like you're doing now. So that's where we're at. Thanks for your questions, and I hope I answered them. Any other comment before we move past the minutes? All right. So let's talk about the open space plan, which is the big thing to do. We want to make sure that we are updating the open space plan so that we can apply for state and I believe federal funding for open space initiatives. We can't do that until we have the open space plan updated. And now that we have Gary joining our team, hopefully we have some extra eyes, ears, and brains to help us do that. I did have some subsections here in the agenda to kind of guide our conversation, but I'll just open the floor to see if anyone has any updates or questions about the open space plan and where we go with that.
So Mike and Fred and I actually met in the library for about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure it turned out exactly how Mike wanted it to, because I think she wanted me to take the document and be responsible for it. But that doesn't make a lot of sense for me to be messing around with the structure of the piece of work until the corrections are made. Mike, I did get to look at it a little bit more the last time, and I think maybe would be helpful for you is if we got together and I just cleaned up your version of it. The tables have gotten squashed, so they're hard to read. There's extra section breaks. I could clean it all up for you on your computer, and maybe that would make it easier too. So, and then I know Fred's not here today, but they've made tremendous progress on this. So that's what I wanted to say.
Well, we did have some parts that still needed some work, and Fred volunteered to take over those parts and do a little bit of the research that still needed to be done and get it, particularly some charts and things with information from the census to update, particularly population information, just general demographics. And I do believe he has done that. he sent us some work that he had done, and Liz, I'm forgetting now, but it seems to me that it's pretty complete now. But did you have a chance to read what he sent?
No. The honest to God truth is that you and Fred have read, and you're so, it's hard to explain, but you're so in depth in it, and you understand what the two of you are talking about, that you're understand. It's like watching a tennis game with two people who've been playing tennis for a while with each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, right. So I took a little note for myself, and my little note said I was supposed to go try to figure out that table 6 with the wetlands and the cranberry bogs. And I just kept looking at it, and I went online and I was trying to figure that out. And I'm like, I need to talk with Mike and Fred again, because I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be updating. The two of you are so, your heads are so in it. Yeah.
Liz, give me a call, because I think we can resolve that one pretty easy. I mean, it's a fairly minor thing for the plan in total. So, but
Right.
we don't want something incorrect that we know that we can fix. It's just a matter of.
So I'd like to clarify just a bit, just to make sure I understand. It sounds like Liz was asked to do some formatting help, but she doesn't want to necessarily do that until she kind of understands the content that's going to be changed. Is that accurate? Okay.
Very accurate. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it'll be great to have that formatting help done, because that's one of the primary obstacles to reading and working on it. Is there's kind of things everywhere right now. It's very much a construction zone. So getting some organization and clarity will help the subsequent changes to be made. Mike, you did mention the population section. I didn't have a chance to read that. I'm assuming that that's one of the things that you and Fred had targeted to update and is now considered done, to your mind?
Pretty much so. I mean, the issue is that we are inserting data that has a different structure from the data that was in the plan. And so you really need to rearrange your wording. And so need to kind of like put it all together and then read it and make sure that it flows properly and that it doesn't jump back and forth between 2012 and 2021.
Sure. That was in the background section, section 1.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Section 1 is, can't remember if it's section 1.
It might not be, but is it safe to say that is the area that you and Fred have been targeting in the last, say, month or so? Is the population section and the area around it, or are there other updates and things that we should be aware of?
We still need Mike Renzi to come forward with his update on the status of the night sky. And if we are going to have that section that evaluates our scenic resources, that one needs to be redone. Am I remembering, like, Liz, did Brent say he would do that? I think he did.
I thought Joan.
Oh, yes, I think you're right. Yes, Joan said she would, yes. But there's been no word from her, so we need to reach out to make sure that she hasn't gotten overwhelmed with something else. Thank you, Liz. I had completely forgotten that.
Okay.
You're welcome.
One of the things that we should discuss is how best to essentially to ask Gary for his help with this project, because I think we're really lucky to have someone, Gary, with your background to help us with this. And before we start thinking about our ideas for how to do that, do you have any ideas about the open space plan and where you think you might be able to kind of make some changes or improvements?
Well, at this point in time, I'm playing catch up. I got a big learning curve. So let me absorb something and then I'll give you some feedback, because every town does their open space different. So I have to see where you conceptually where you guys are going. And once that happens, then I'll give you some comments.
Sure.
Because I haven't, I'd like to see what you guys have put together so far too.
Mm-hmm.
It might be wise to as soon as we possibly can, get this all background section cleaned up and then send a cleaned up copy to Gary so that he can read that, so that he can then participate in our next phases, which is actually coming up with what we think ought to be done.
Exactly.
Okay. So there's an update to be provided about the survey. I can kind of go into a lot or a little detail and anywhere in between. Maybe I'll just start generally and say that I've been able to write up approximately half of the content required for Section 7's analysis of needs. That this is where the survey goes, which will detail why we did a survey, how the survey was conducted, and what the survey showed, as well as provides, well, lots of graphs to kind of round out the picture here and make sure that what we found was known. I'm assuming that once this section is done, I'm going to have time to help with other sections, and I'm looking forward to that. I do think that by the January meeting, Section 7 will be at least done in draft form, and I look forward to getting your feedback on how to make it better before we put it behind us. But thankfully, because it's been done in isolation, there's no formatting challenges there.
We're just going to have to make it fit the rest of the formatting of our final product, but that'll be the easy part, I hope.
Right. One thing I have not done, which I suppose we should try to do, is to surface the results of this survey in a way that is not dependent on the release of the open space plan. Assuming that, I mean, we had over 800 people respond to the survey, and I'm assuming that they're going to want to know how it came out. They can watch the October Open Space Committee video on LakeCAM.tv if they want to review how we discussed at that time. I have also sent in the video as well as the PowerPoint presentation, which summarizes the results to Ari, the town administrator, which has been shared with the Board of Selectmen. What should be done somehow is to surface those results to the public in some other way, whether that be to put it on the town website. I think that would be a good idea. I'm open to other suggestions, but that's something I'm going to be thinking about between now and then, just to make sure that people aren't waiting until, however long it takes to get this this plan updated, because a lot of the information I think is really, really interesting. Liz?
Well, once it's on their website, I mean, I guess we can request the town to Facebook a link to that on the website. I mean, at least that's, it's like printing something in the paper, this is available kind of thing.
Right, that's a good point. I will make a note of that here.
Yeah, I would just say that I'm all in favor in getting your video and whatever graphs you come up with. It would be under the Open Space Committee, and there would be an internal link to it, I would assume.
Okay. Taking notes. All right, so that's that for the survey. I don't really want to, read any more today than I already have. So look forward to checking out that email I'll send to you all at some point this week, or this month at least, so you can kind of see what I've done and where I'm going. So that's the survey. At this point, I don't know what to expect from Serpent. I think that, well, I'll just ask it as a question. Mike, what do you expect from Serpent at this point?
Sorry, I had trouble getting the arrow on the right spot. I would expect Serpent to tell us if what we have said that the assistance that we are going to need, which is essentially the maps, if that falls within what we are granted from SERPID, or is it going to be something that we're going to have to raise funds for?
Do you have any expectation on when we would hear from them, whether they're making a decision or what our next steps in terms of collaborating with them would be?
I do not, and perhaps we need to reach out to them again so we can find out just where it stands. Because I thought we had a pretty clear agreement with Helen that we did not need the scope of work that she originally had thought, so that we really are falling into a different category, and whether it just got put on the shelf or they are they're waiting for us to like present the maps that we need. I think it was discussed that it would be the same maps that are already that were used in 2012, but they would be updated versions. And we know that some of the maps that were not provided by SERPID originally, they're maps that we are able to get. We have access to a natural heritage map, for example. And
one potential problem there, though, is I remember from that conversation, which was last month, I believe, the SERPID representative, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name.
Helen, oh gosh, I can't think of her last name, Zinkavage.
Okay, Helen, she mentioned that each map would take quite some time, and we certainly don't have a lot of SERPID hours to spend, if any. So I'm wondering where we make up that difference. And I'm also trying to think of what was done in the past. Do you remember how the Open Space Committee in the past was able to get all those maps? Because there's a lot of them. There's like dozens of them, right? So how were they procured last time?
There was no extra funding raised for it. There was no. We did not have. I don't remember a budget, to tell you the truth, but I was not party to the to that aspect of it. I mean, I don't remember who financed the printing, for example. I just know that it did not come out very good. I don't. Sorry, I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember? And I'm leaning heavily on you for this because I know that you were involved. But do you remember who was involved with the maps whatsoever? Was there anyone on the committee at the time, or a volunteer basis, who took ownership or was at least involved with the map process? Someone we could reach out to and kind of ask follow-up questions with?
It could well be Don Foster. If not, Linda Grubb would be someone to reach out to. But I know that Don was the one that arranged the printing, so he may well have been the one that reached out to get the maps done. I would like to point out that the maps which printed so badly are actually in digital version at SERPID. And if we could access them from SERPID, we could see them very well and enlarge them and have sharp detail. But and that's the way. If we avoid printing, that's the type of maps that will be available online and digitally.
Right. I don't want to overcommit, but I'm wondering if I was given access to the maps, I might be able to do some of that work myself once the survey section is done. I guess I'll explore that and see if that's feasible, because it's going to have to come from somewhere. So I guess we'll look into that between now and then. All right. I believe it's our responsibility. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, to read Facebook comments as they come in.
Yeah, I believe so.
This is an open meeting, and so for that reason, I'm going to read a comment from Jason Peter, who I have not had the pleasure of meeting. His comment starts, "Just in my opinion, my belief is integrity and moral values should be steadfast without any duress of any kind. to always reach the best conclusion with the most positive results for the community, to better the community and its surroundings. As we all know, everything has a past, but with that being said, we also know everything has a future. The future lies in everybody's hands. Humanity needs men and women more than ever at these uncertain times leading to the future. I thank you for your comment, Jason. I'm not entirely sure how it relates to the work that we're doing today. And if you'd like to shoot us an email or something, we could maybe discuss that, not during the live broadcast. Thank you for your comment. Let's move on to other topics now. The priority properties list is always on the docket. If I don't have anything in particular to say about it, the priority properties list has not changed, but I'm wondering if anyone has anything they'd like to say about our priority properties, and perhaps they've heard anything or have anything to add relating to the properties that we deem to be the most important for open space preservation.
I'm not quite sure just if we're all on the same page with this. We have in the past discussed what the criteria were. Do we need to review that?
We don't necessarily need to review that. What I want to do is just open up the floor to talk about the priority properties. Really, this is a preamble to a conversation that we'll have in new business, which does relate to 183 Rhode Island Road, which is LeBaron Hills Country Club. I do think that before I joined the committee, that had been on the priority properties list. Is that right?
The country club, not LeBaron, no.
No, never at any point was that on our priority.
I don't believe so.
Okay. So I suppose
the Lakeville Country Club was on the priority list, but not LeBaron.
Right. I suppose with that introduced, we'll move to new business and discuss 183 Rhode Island Road. I'm going to put on my screen the information that we've received. Apparently, there are going to be changes made to the country club, and we should know about it. Let's see. Has anyone else on the committee had the opportunity to read these files which were shared with us?
I looked them over, yes.
Yeah, I looked over the plan.
Okay. It's essentially, how would you summarize what's going on here? It's just an adjustment to their intention of how it would be built out. Is that accurate?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be just an upgrade of their front landscaping.
Yeah, I agree. And just making themselves more visible so that they can continue to be able to run the restaurant and the organization and continue to be successful at it. That was what I saw when I read everything they wrote they were going to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So we have tennis courts, turf management, enlargement of the entrance, parking spaces. Certain trees and shrubs will be removed. Does anyone here have any reason to believe that this directly impacts open space?
Not really. This is an area that already has been greatly modified. It's a recreational facility, but recreational facilities of this type tend to already be very disturbed. They're man-made landscapes, and they're just messing around with it a bit more. I always hate to see a tree come down. I don't know what trees they're taking down, but I don't think this is something that we need to slow their progress up by discussing.
Okay.
They are planning on having their in-house landscape people plant some new vegetation.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would be nice if they pick something native.
That is a good point, Liz.
Well, but
we could throw that in just as one simple recommendation.
Sure.
Always.
It's true.
Does anyone have any relationship with the owner or are you recommending that we write a letter, or how would that comment be routed?
I have no.
Does the committee generally, when they make recommendations, write letters, email? How do you folks normally handle this?
Well, one of the things that's been done in the past is send a simple memo via email to the planning board, just that we have reviewed this, and we don't see that there is any open space, any of the values of open space that are being in any way threatened here, and then just say we always recommend that plantings be chosen, native plantings be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
That works.
Okay. How should we go about making that correspondence? Would someone like to volunteer to do so?
All right. Just make sure to remind me to make me sure I do it.
Oh, geez.
Wow, she stepped up for you there, Liz. I thought that was your idea. All right, that's great. And I'm sure we could have a whole nother meeting on the value of native plants and what they do for our ecosystems and keep Lakeville kind of natural and the way it once was. So very much appreciated. That was the only topic I had for new business. Was there anything, I guess I'll open the floor and say, is there anything that has not made it to the agenda that anyone would like to discuss before we move to committee liaisons? All right, nothing heard. In that case, we don't have a representative from the Historical Commission or the Conservation Commission today, unfortunately. And the other two liaisons are both Mike. So Mike, without further ado, would you like to speak to either the Assawamsett Pond Complex or the future CPC, as we've been calling it?
Well, I don't have anything for the Assawamsett Pond Complex at this point. There have been several public meetings that they have done, and the outreach for those has just the advertising has been somewhat lacking, unfortunately. I did attend one of them, but and I missed the last one. The next one, there will be some upcoming, and I keep misplacing the little card that gives me the dates. But again, if people will nag me, I will get that out to you, because it is how I don't know. They should be making it public in some way, reaching out to the just everybody in the watershed. So I guess maybe the best thing that I could do when I get this thing located is to post this schedule on Lakeville Helping Lakeville, and maybe the agricultural, just a bunch of those pages that are town pages. I don't know how else one gets information out these days. I suppose. Well, I don't know. I don't think the town has any place to put something like that. Maybe that is something. Maybe this is a way that we ought to be using our the town website, so that when news that concerns open space, as something like this does, that's a place where people would find it if they went to look. But anyway,
I'd love to understand better how the town website is supposed to be being handled by the different committees. Are we responsible for some portion of the?
I do know this. Well, Adam probably knows.
I'm not sure he does.
Unfortunately.
Well, because this is kind of new technology since COVID happened. I mean, everything just ramped up so rapidly. I think the town was trying to get their feet underneath them too.
Well, I will tell you this much. We did have a meeting where several meetings to explain the new website. And what I do remember from it is that each committee has the ability to create a link to their material. And one person, and that would probably be the chairman, should be the one that always puts it on and takes it off. But there should be links that are available. If somebody just clicks on Open Space Committee, and you get a little window that comes up. I think it gives the members, and there should be a link there that people, or maybe several links. Exactly how you do that, I don't know, but it is supposed to be available to us, and it can actually it could go on forever because you could have a million links.
But so do we know who in town hall is in charge of the town website?
I would start with Tracy, the clerk to the what is her title?
I have no idea what her title is.
Adam, do you know what Tracy's title is? I always thought she was secretary to the
Board of Selectmen.
The
but-
board-
I think to the selectmen.
yeah.
So
All right,
she'd
okay.
definitely be the person, one of the people to know. We could probably also talk to Ari. I'm sure he has lots of things
Yeah.
on his plate. I'm sure everyone does. So,
But
Right, yeah.
this sounds more of something that would be in Tracy's bailiwick.
Okay. Well, I will volunteer to call Tracy.
it'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And if we are in any way given the ability to make changes to the website to update, for example, to put survey content, or even if it's just agenda in minutes, I can help do that if I'm given the opportunity. So we'll tackle this together. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Mike, about the future CPC? And should I put, when was the town meeting? Was that before or after the last meeting?
Had to be after, yeah.
I think it was after, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do know that it passed, and the committee has been meeting. We met once, and we're going to meet again actually tomorrow night, because the big concern is that we want this to stay in front of people's minds and move forward. We will, of course, it goes on the CPA goes on the ballot in April, and by that time people will have lost the momentum that we have right now. So there actually will be a little bit of a presence at the Arts Council, All That Glitters, on Saturday, if the weather is not too bad, because we have to be outside. There's no room for us inside. So there will probably be somebody there briefly passing out something. And then after the holidays, we will really start, the group will really start trying to do some activities. I'm using the word we because I am part of that committee, which, by the way, is not a town committee at this point.
Right. You are a representative to what could become a town committee.
That's correct.
Right. So that's exciting. So that's the ballot is on April. I'm sure it's too early to have a firm date in mind, I suppose.
Yes. I would like to just say, Adam, at this point that for anybody out there that is supporting of this CPA, we will probably be passing out things as we did this last time to individual mailboxes and standing out in various public events and passing things out. So we need foot soldiers. So we're hoping that people will speak up. And if you're interested in participating, there is a Facebook page, Lakeville Community Preservation Act. Is that the way it's written, Adam? I've kind of forgotten exactly how it's written.
Yeah, I think if you were on Facebook and you searched Lakeville Community Preservation Act or Lakeville CPA, you'd find it.
You'd find it, yeah.
And if you were to go on that Facebook page, you would have the opportunity to get in touch with people who could tell you more about it or tell you how to get involved if that was your inclination. So we'll talk about it a lot, I'm assuming, in the next few months. And that's pretty exciting to have passed it. I believe it was about an 80% yes vote when I did the math, which is, I think, pretty substantial. And is exactly in line with the results of the survey, which asked if people would be strongly in favor, strongly opposed, or somewhere in between about 80% of people said that they would support the CPA, and that's almost exactly what happened at the town meeting. So we'll see what happens at the ballot.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting. Procedural details. We did receive a resignation from Donna Wabrick. We do have an opening, whether that's for Joan if she wants to apply. She'd be welcome to. Anyone else, don't feel like you're not invited. You certainly are. We'd love to have people contribute to this committee and contribute to the open space plan. And with that said, I would ask that someone move to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn. Oh,
All
I'll
right.
second it.
There we
I'll
go.
second it.
So Gary moves and Liz seconds, and probably no discussion. So what we'll have is a roll call vote. I'll see your name and you'll say aye or nay. Gary Flaherty,
Aye.
Mike Schroeder. Did you say something, Mike? You might be.
No, I did not say anything yet. Before I say aye, I just wanted to say I hope that very soon that we will do some brainstorming as to what, but we all need to be thinking what kind of things we think the town is going to need us to be doing in this plan.
Can you elaborate?
Aye. I'm eyeing.
So
So
yes,
we'll elaborate
we
next time, apparently.
well, we absolutely do need to keep thinking about the open space plan. That is the number one thing on our to-do list. And so I guess I would encourage Gary to read the plan as it currently stands and pick out things that you think could be in your wheelhouse to update. And I think that'd just be a good first pass. It seems like Liz will be doing some much needed formatting help. Mike will be carrying the brunt of the load as always. I'll be doing the survey. I'm going to finish the survey write-up and perhaps start looking into the much needed graph work. So I appreciate you emphasizing the importance of keeping the plan at the forefront. And with that, I did hear you say aye, so I'm going to move to Nash.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Unanimous. We'll wrap up today's meeting. Please join us Wednesday, January 5th, 2022 at 7 p.m. and we'll pick up where we left off with the open space plan a little bit closer to being done. Thanks, everybody.